This is the moment that Poppies fans had waited over 2 decades for. Kettering had reached the FA Trophy final for a second time. The first Wembley visit back in 1979 saw the Poppies lose 2-0 to Stafford Rangers. After a cup run that had swung Kettering's followers from one extreme of the emotion pendulum to the other, it was time to sit back, relax and wait for the big day. For the majority of footballers, the chance to appear at the Twin Towers is something they never experience, and for part-time non-league players, the chance is even rarer. But the class of Kettering in the first year of the new millennium had done it. Wembley Stadium. This famous old venue has played host to some of the most exciting games ever seen. The greatest players in the world have appeared here, and this afternoon the players of Kingstonian and in particular Kettering Town are going to be added to the list of those lucky few fortunate enough to have said they've strutted their stuff on the lush green turf of the Twin Towers. It had been a long and exhausting season. Well, aren't they all? After finishing as runners-up to Cheltenham in the conference final shake-up of May '99, Peter Morris's first season back in charge at the club, season 99-2000, had been more of a struggle for Kettering in the league. Despite 2 transfer coups midway through the campaign, with veteran strikers Carl Shutt and Dale Watkins brought to Rockingham Road thanks to some trademark wheeler dealing from manager Morris, Kettering found goals hard to come by in the conference, finishing 13th after fears at one stage that their 21-year stay in the non-league's top division was in jeopardy. The FA Trophy, it would seem, though, was a different story. But like their league campaign, Kettering's road to Wembley was far from a straightforward one.
It's still up there. Brett McNamara trying to get something on it. It's headed away by Paul in the end, but Phil Brown crossing it. There's McNamara. Yes! Oh, Dale Watkins. He puts the ball into the back of the net. And here's Ronnie Joe turning well. Ronnie Joe with a shot. Oh, what a great shot that is! Out of nothing, Ronnie Joe has put Tame right back into this game. Oh, that was short. Wayne Dyer missing out there, and here come Tame on the break, and it's Ronnie Joe again. Ronnie Joe, still Joe, he shoots. Oh no, it's another goal for Tame. Well, what was the Kettering defence doing? It's Phil Brown though to Stuart Storer. Now Storer shoots. Yes, it's in. 87 minutes gone, 3 minutes from time, and Stuart Storer has come to Kettering's rescue. As it is, a free kick for Kettering. Adams, ball punched out. There's Carl Shutt. Oh, what a shot from Shutt! He's only been on the field for 3 minutes. Free kick to Kettering in a dangerous position. Carl Adams knocking the ball forward. There's Colin Brown heading it, and Watkins! Well, that's what he does best. Auckland not having too many problems defending, but Ben Doan might have his shot. Oh my goodness me, Shaw's in! And Andy Shaw has opened the scoring for Bishop Auckland. Ball now to Naylor. Still Naylor, oh, it goes past 2 tackles, Naylor gets a cross in. Oh, there's Downey! And there's a second goal within the space of a couple of minutes. Phil Brown with the free kick. Knocks it long. Colin Bowden. Oh, there's Craig Norman, and there's one back for Kettering. Well, they needed to get back into this game. They've done it through Craig Norman. Pete Carl Adams with the corner. Knocked on by Bowden. Oh, there's Watkins, good save. Oh, it's a scramble, and there's Craig Norman. He's put the ball in the net. His second goal, Kettering's equaliser. 51 minutes gone.
Corner. And it's fallen to Brett McNamara with virtually their first attack of the evening. Kettering have the lead at Bishop Auckland. And this is Phil Brown. This could certainly seal it. Oh, and he's gone down to Watkins now, and that will be a penalty. Craig Norman makes it 2, and Kettering Town are in the semi-finals of this year's trophy.
With the throw to Watkins. Watkins to Phil Brown. Cross coming in from Phil Brown. There's Gary Central. There's Gary Central. He scored. Well, that gives Kettering the lead. 29 minutes gone. Steve Palmer with the shot. Good bouncing shot, and Adam Solid palms the ball away. McNamara up in the air now. Travis heading there. Here's Dale Watkins. Dale got Watkins with a bit of space. Fine shot by Dale Watkins onto the crossbar. Travis to Murphy. Murphy getting round Norman. Getting into a crossing. There's Markindale. It's off the post. Ryan Price taking the kick as quickly as he can. Over there goes the final whistle, and the Poppies have done it. They're at Wembley. They've reached the final of the FA Trophy. They're absolutely delighted. Fantastic scenes. Here the Kettering fans on the pitch, the players hugging each other, hugging the fans. What a wonderful moment.
With conference safety secure, the Poppies look forward to the big day. The team left for their luxurious Hertfordshire hotel on the Thursday before the final, thus enabling players and management alike 2 nights away from the usually welcome distractions of families and fans in preparation for final day. On the Friday, and 24 hours before they were due to step onto the lush Twin Towers turf for real, a dress rehearsal, well, of sorts anyway, as the Poppies familiarised themselves with the size and unique ambience of Wembley. What you're looking at, in fact, is a privileged bunch. Kettering's players becoming one of the last groups to experience the magnificence of Wembley in its present incarnation before the bulldozers get to it.
Peter, yourself and the players and officials of the Poppies are here checking out Wembley. How's everyone looking forward to it?
They're excited, obviously. There's only Shutty, I think, been here before. Shutty's actually played here. So it's no experience for us just to walk in here and walking in the dressing rooms on the pitch. Hope they sleep tonight.
A lot of your players, as you mentioned there, haven't had experience of Wembley before, but you have, haven't you?
A long time ago, 1974, I think, Norwich v Aston Villa. I can remember some of it, but coming down on the coast, the lads have got a video from somewhere of all the game, and for an hour and a half we've gone through the torture of watching me play. So that brings back memories, that video, and I've been surprised that somebody could get one like that. But The lads will be all right. They'll be excited, and I think the tension will disappear once we start playing.
Obviously the stadium looks slightly different to the way it did all those years ago, but I suppose the atmosphere here never changes.
Well, I think there's 100,000 here when we played. We came here on Friday afternoon, had a quick walk around. We can't change too much. I've only been here twice since to watch games, but the atmosphere this place creates is beyond belief.
And in terms of the game tomorrow, I guess a big boost for you in the sense that Kingstonian missing one or two key players.
I'm not bothered who they're playing. At the end of the day, I wouldn't wish any injury on any lad. I saw Wingfield get his injury at Doncaster. My lad Ridgeway, who's played most of the games this season, he can't play. Coxey can't play. He picked up an injury 2 weeks ago. So we've got our own regular lads who can't play. And all I hope is that 22 players out there do themselves credit.
Carl, looks like you're the pretty much the one and only Kettering player with experience of Wembley, so I guess you're talking the rest of the lads through it.
Yeah, I mean they're exciting and that, so it's a matter of just calming them down. I mean the gaffer's been before and that, and Dale Watkins, so you know it's just a matter of keeping them like nice and calm so they don't waste any energy for tomorrow.
For non-league players, it is a cliche, but of course it's so true. It is going to be the biggest day of their lives, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean anybody what plays at Wembley, it's the biggest game of their lives. You know, you can't football. You dream about playing at Wembley. Tomorrow, the dreams are going to come true.
And I guess a big boost for you in the sense that Kingstonian missing one or two key players through injury. Yourselves, though, with the exception of Ian Ridgeway, have got pretty much a full-strength squad.
Yeah, we've got a full-strength squad, but whoever Kingstonian sends out in that shirt, we know they're going to be getting 100%. So we know they're strong. They're going to be a strong side tomorrow. They've been here before, and actually know what to expect. So we know it's going to be an hard task.
Naturally, Kettering weren't alone in being allowed a sneak preview of Wembley. A few hours earlier, the Kingstonian party had their Twin Towers tour. Not that they needed it, though. This was pretty much the same side that had won the trophy 12 months previously against Forest Green, and manager Jeff Chappell was indeed looking for his 5th trophy success there.
Yeah, wonderful memories, but it's just trying to keep them all together because the day actually flies by. It goes so quick, and I'm just very, very lucky that, 5 times in 7 years, and I just can't thank the players enough at the two clubs I've been with that have managed to achieve it for me, really.
After a stroll on the pitch, players only are allowed on this most famous stretch of turf, not any common or garden media types, you've got to understand, and a wander through the dressing rooms where so many greats have passed before, but not too many after. It was back to the tranquility of the team hotel. The plan, naturally, was to have an early night, but would these players actually get any sleep? Saturday, May the 13th, and it's a beautiful day. Wembley slowly wakes from its slumber and prepares to welcome the Poppies. Some hardened souls have arrived especially early to savour the atmosphere emanating from this majestic old arena. But from midday onwards, that's when the party really begins to kick off. Contrast the excitement of Wembley to the tranquil surroundings of Kettering's team hotel here in deepest Hertfordshire. Well, the players are due to leave for Wembley Stadium in about 45 minutes, that's about 1:45, so I'm going to stroll inside and see whether or not the butterflies are setting in yet. Some of the most famous sides in the world have walked these corridors. From domestic cup finals and European finals to Euro '96, the biggest clubs and international sides, even Brazil no less, have used this secluded location just outside St Albans as their base for a Wembley trip. The pictures hang proud, and as luck would have it, there are 1 or 2 bits of wall space that still need filling. Now, a Kettering pennant would go really nicely there.
Feeling good? Going to win the trophy. How's everyone feeling?
I'm pretty relaxed at the moment. I'm sure that'll change in the next couple of hours when we actually get onto the pitch and get ready to go and hopefully win this afternoon.
You personally, are the butterflies setting in?
Not really, not at the moment. As I say, yesterday when we had a little walk around and tasted the atmosphere, but today I'm sure the butterflies will be there. I'm sure everybody will be the same, and hopefully I can help the younger ones and we'll go through in the end.
Not too many Kettering players have got experience of Wembley. Carl Shutt obviously and Dale Watkins 2 years ago, the trophy final. But yourself, you've been on the bench at Wembley as well.
Yeah, I was 10 years ago. I was at Cambridge United at the time, only 18. Yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm just honoured to lead my team back there, as I say today.
You've obviously had your team talk this morning. Everyone knows their role this afternoon. How is everyone feeling in the camp?
Well, the feeling is tremendous. We've enjoyed the last couple of days here. We're all feeling pretty relaxed and just ready to go, really.
I suppose you've done it almost a difficult way getting to the final with so many replays in the cup run. I guess you've got to be thinking to yourselves, we can't come this far and then blow it.
No, exactly. You know, we went to war against Telford and just battled our way through the 2 games. We've not done particularly well in the league this year, but to finish it off with a victory in the FA final would be great.
It's 1:45. The players have been told who's playing, the coach's engine is turning, the police escort has even arrived, so that can only mean one thing. It's time to go to Wembley.
To Wembley, our nerves setting in.
Yeah, nerves been setting in when we woke up this morning, but I'm sure as soon as we get out on the pitch, we'll be fine. We're just going to enjoy it. Make a good day.
It's just purely looking forward to it.
But you've spent a relaxing morning in the hotel. Everyone's geared up for it.
Yeah, we've had a good relaxing time. It's been a great couple of days. Swimming, food's been great. Really looking forward to it. Lads have been great, so it's been good.
Yeah, we're very nervous now. It's building up. Yep.
And what about the morning? You spent a relaxing morning in the hotel, I suppose, thinking about what's going to happen this afternoon.
Yeah, we've all had breakfast together and that, and just chilled out in his rooms basically, thinking about the game.
What must go through the mind of a player as he sees this sight? An hour and a half to kick off and counting. Outside two, the balmy Poppy's Army were firmly in the spirit of things.
We're going to win today. 3-1 to Kettering. Absolutely great. Craig Norman hat-trick. That's what we're looking for. Craig Norman hat-trick, that's quite a bold prediction. 3 penalties. You see a victory for Kettering today?
Absolutely. No other result on the cards.
The Poppies have got to the final the hard way, so they can't come all the way here and lose, can they?
No, I think they deserve it. I think they've worked hard, and I think really Kettering deserves this for the whole town, not just for the club.
And you think they'll win today?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, another Kettering fan enjoying the build-up to Wembley today, but you didn't have any ordinary journey here, did you?
No, I decided to bike all the way from Kettering's ground to here this morning.
Now, why would you want to do a stupid thing?
Well, I'm doing it for charity, and yeah, when Kettering got to Wembley, I thought it was a good idea to do and raise some money for a charity I'm involved with in the Kettering area.
But do you think Kettering will win today?
Definitely.
Yeah? Score prediction? Come on, let's have a score prediction from you all. What do you reckon?
3-1.
2-1. 2-0. Who's going to score for the Poppies today?
Doesn't matter really, does it?
As long as they win?
Yeah.
We're the famous Kettering town and we're going to Wembley. Wembley! We're the famous Kettering town and we're going to Wembley. Wembley! Wembley!
I think it's payback time for 79, personally. Yeah.
What sort of score do you think it's going to be today?
2-1.
2-1 today. A little bit nervous, but mad for it, mate, mad for it. Oh, get a bit, surely.
We do! We love you, Kettering! We do! Oh, Kettering, we love you! Let's go, Kettering! Oh, Kettering, we do!
I think they'll do well today.
You see a victory for the Poppies today?
Yeah, 2-0.
Oh, it's got to be at least 4-0, definitely.
4-0 to the Poppies.
Yeah, Craig Norman scored the first goal, Colin Bowden with the second.
And a final word from all three of you about Peter Morris. He finished second in the league last season with the Poppies, of course. This time round, FA Trophy final, brilliant manager, isn't he?
Absolutely, no problem with Peter. He's the man for this club. We love him to bits. He's got us to Wembley. It's where we want to be. We're here, diamonds or not, respect.
At last, the waiting was over. The Poppers had spent 21 years trying to get back to Wembley to erase the memories of that defeat to Stafford. And now they had the chance. The FA Trophy final in the year 2000. Kettering Town against Kingstonian.
Kettering manager Peter Morris had to deal with a few injury problems before naming this team. Defenders Ian Ridgway and Paul Cox have failed to make it, which means that their best known player Carl Shutt, who's played as a striker at the highest level, is forced into the unfamiliar role of wing-back. 5 of these players have appeared in the Football League, but Kettering have had a disappointing season in the nationwide conference in which they finished 13th.
Well, Kettering will go with 5 at the back, 3 in midfield and 2 up front. The highly rated Adam Solent in goal, and it'll be very interesting to see how Carl Shutt
when he takes on this role of right wing back. I think what they're trying to do is get him up against Colin Luckett, who's certainly on the small side, and hope they can certainly exploit that particular area. Craig Norman, we've talked about a little bit earlier, 14 goals from the back is an incredible return for a defender. Look out also for Phil Brown in midfield, a lot of league experience from him, and also Dale Watkins, who has played in the England non-league side and also experienced league football.
Now Kingstonian, who feel no fewer than 8 of the team that won last year's final against Forest Green Rovers. Like his opposite number, Kingstonian's manager Jeff Chappell has suffered from losing several players through injury and the suspension which has ruled out England non-league international Gary Patterson from midfield. Still, there's plenty of experience in this team, and they've certainly got young legs in the shape of 20 years old Junior Caddy in midfield and striker Ronnie Green, who's only 18.
Well, Kingstonian you would expect to have just a slight edge, having been here last year, having beaten Forest Green. The 3 centre-halves, very strong, very dominant, but they do lack a little bit of pace, especially when Mustafa as a right wing back and Luckett as a left wing back do like to get forward. Pitcher, who was the man of the match, no doubt about it last year, he was excellent. He's the playmaker, he's the one that sets the tone for the Kingstonian performance, and that's an area really where Kettering are going to have to get to grips with. And Akamoa, a lot of pace. Simba, great experience, and Ronnie Green, well, an inexperienced youngster, but certainly one that Jeff Chappell rates extremely highly.
Well, the atmosphere really building now. Certainly a lot more Kettering fans here. They sold around 12,000 tickets. Kingstonian only about 5 or 6. Well, experience so important on days like this when nerves can get even to the hardiest of players, and they don't come more experienced than this guy. Carl Schutt at 38, the oldest player on the pitch, and he won a championship medal in his days with Leeds United 8 years ago. Up against him today, Amara Simba, a full international, and I doubt that many of those have played in previous trophy finals. He's played a few times for the French national team, including here against England in a full international some 8 years ago. Well, Kingstonian have been forced to wear their change strip today, and their fans will be hoping that it really is just like watching Brazil. Kettering in their first choice strip of red and black. Kettering's second final, they lost 2-0 against Stafford Rangers here 21 years ago to a 32,000 in the crowd that day, somewhat less than that now, but certainly Kettering have brought more than their full complement for quite a small town. Crossley, the captain, and one of the most experienced defensive players for Kingstonian with the clearance. Up against him down that side, Brett McNamara, who despite wearing number 2 is a striker who's had a hamstring problem that made him doubtful for this game. He was joint top scorer last season with 12 goals. He's only managed 5 this season. He's dispossessed. Good strong challenge coming in from Matt Fisher. And the cross provides the first problem for Kingstonian's defence. It was a rather nervous way of dealing with it, but they got away with it. Early touch for Steve Farrelly, the Kingstonian keeper. And he might get another touch that he wasn't really expecting as Dale Watkins takes Kettering forward. They have a player, it's McNamara lying injured in the centre circle at the moment. Crossley up against Watkins, just used his experience there to guide the ball out of play.
Well, Matt Crossley was the player that was involved with the collision with McNamara. Round about the halfway line, McNamara just looking to help the ball on in behind this defence of Kingstonian, a defence that I'm sure Kettering were looking to exploit any weaknesses in pace, and it's a collision that you certainly don't want early on when you play here. A great showpiece final and a wonderful crowd and a wonderful day, but Matt Crossley, well, he's been here before, of course. Last year he was outstanding as sweeper against Forest Green, and a player with immense experience, but Peter Morris, the manager there, I'm sure that he'll be hoping that his team can get about Kingstonian. Kingstonian are a very good footballing side, but Kettering won't want to allow them to settle.
Well, remember, McNamara was only past fit to play in the game this morning. Doesn't look like the hamstring again, more of a collision that has injured him this time. He made one appearance in the Football League with Northampton Town 5 years ago now. And I'm pretty sure he'll return swiftly as Kingstonian get the play underway again with Harris, the tall, commanding centre-back, 6'3", Mark Harris, another man with a lot of Football League experience. Pitcher plays it long. Eddie Akmaro winning it. And got his cross in early, aimed at Simba. Green also in a forward position here. Here's Mustafa, who scored the winning goal in last season's final.
Well, it's quite an adventurous area from Tarkin Mustafa to try his luck here. It's all of, 25-30 yards, and unfortunately doesn't really get it on target, but it's quite interesting to note, we talked about Jeff Pitcher, the number 8 for Kingstonian, and what a big impact he can have in that midfield area. Already Matt Fisher, the number 7 of Kettering, has gone very close to him in this early stages, and I think that will be an interesting duel to see unfold over the next 15 to 20 minutes.
McNamara incidentally now back on the field for Kettering, who with 3 replays in the earlier rounds of this competition are now playing their 11th game in the competition, and that's just one short of the all-time record set by Bishop Stortford some 19 years ago. It certainly has been a long and winding road to Wembley for the men in red. Clearance by Chris Perkins, who's on loan from 3rd Division Southend United. Just 20, the central defender. He held the ball up cleverly this time, McNamara. And gets it back again. 3 in the box here for Kettering. Cross a bit disappointing. They try again with Brown. Setchell's header on. And the left wing back Gary Setchell in possession again. Did well to make any kind of cross. Watkins was falling backwards, couldn't really direct the header on target.
Well, it's not a bad attempt. It was a difficult one for him to cope with, but for me, Kettering have started much brighter. I think they've got a better tempo to their game. I think on such a hot afternoon they're going to have to be very careful indeed not to really burn themselves out too quickly. I think where Kingstonian will just want to pace themselves through the game, where Kettering have really gone about it.
And here goes Amara Simba. A little ambitious on the French international, who vies with Carl Shutt for being the oldest man on the field. He's also 38. Loudon's clearance, very commanding figure at the heart of their defence, the Kettering skipper. So almost 10 minutes completed here at Wembley, and Kettering certainly have made the better start against the holders, Kingstonian. Setchell on the end of this one, and a great knockdown for Watkins. Well, at the far end of the stadium, some of the Kettering fans really did think that one had gone in.
And not only the fans, but me too, because that's a great opportunity. But once again, you can see they're trying to exploit the lack of height at the far post. They've done it on both occasions where they've either gone right or left. This time it was Setchell, certainly up against Mustafa, certainly been in commanding form, but Watkin there, he did very well to try and hook this ball goal bound, and that is absolute minute away from being a first goal for Kettering.
There's Ronnie Green now for Kingstonian, only 18 and with just a handful of first team appearances behind him. Luckett's cross. Pitcher, very influential figure in midfield for Kingstonian, though he's missing his usual partner, Gary Patterson, who is harshly suspended from this final. Harris goes in strongly, and the tackle's starting to bite now. Watkins, who has come Closest to a goal yet. Bowden's long ball picks out McNamara. Crossley just hesitated for a moment. Did well to get back. And now Adams. There was no question that Kettering have settled quickly here. Kingstonian still looking a little edgy. Setchell, the man causing them a lot of problems, but Mustafa won the header this time. And here's their playmaker, Pitcher. Trying to exploit the pace of Green. Well, there is not exactly an understanding there between goalkeeper and defender. And you can't blame Carl Shutt. The golden rule of defending is get it out of danger first and argue later. Impressive run here by Akamoa. That was close.
Well, we talked about the goals that Craig Norman had scored at the other end, but he was very nearly close to putting one into the own net. But that's great play from Akamoa. We talked about his pace, we talked about him running at people, and Simba was looking to convert that chance at the far post.
Caddy switches play. And receives it again. He's only 20. Began his career at Coventry City, the Kingstonian number 7. High standard, of course, the nationwide conference, and has been for many years. Many of these players have either dropped out of professional league football or certainly have had opportunities to go into it and perhaps decided it's more lucrative to play at this level and earn a living in another profession. Conference teams have proved time and time again over the years that there's very little between them, certainly in Division 3. Incidentally, there will be no fewer than 9 full-time clubs in the conference next season. And here's one man who knows non-league football back to front. He knows his side have made a poor start here.
Jeff Chappell actually said before the game how important this period that we are in at the moment, the first 20 minutes, is important to both sides, and they'll know his team can do better than they've shown so far.
This looks more promising. Green on the ball, Simba in the middle. Caddy's cross comes straight back to him. No problem for goalkeeper Adam Solid. Over Mustafa's head again. He got help this time from Simon Stewart. One of the many, Mustafa and Stewart, who played in the final last year. And Stewart here played half a dozen games in the Premiership for Sheffield Wednesday a few seasons ago.
It's been a terrific battle unfolding on this side just below us with Mustafa and Setchell. Setchell looking to have the upper hand. Of course, it was Mustafa's goal that won the trophy for Kingstonian last season. But at the moment, Setchell is just dominating between the two players, and I think that what Kingstonian will hope to do is have enough possession in midfield through Pitcher and Caddy that Mustafa can get on his bike on this right hand side and try and cause some problems at the other end of the field. Predominantly he spent this opening period just defending.
Clearance by Crossley straight through to Adam Solid. He's only 22, played reserve team football for Nottingham Forest. He was the first player signed when Peter Morris returned to become manager of Kettering again. Good clearance by the keeper as well over Crossley's head. Kamara couldn't profit. Adams loses out. This is Colin Luckett. Eddie Akamoa, great lively little player. The width provided again by Tarkan Mustafa. Oh, it's a good run, and he was taken out there by Setchell. The referee will certainly have a word with the Kettering player.
Well, that's as blatant as you can get there, and Gary Setchell just Getting a word of warning from the referee, Steve Dunn. I think that's his first challenge, and it's a blatant one indeed. But we talked about how difficult Kingstonian have found to get Mustafa into those forward areas, but there's an example of how well he can do it given the chance.
Well, they've got three huge central defenders to try and pick out here. Kingstonian, Stewart, Crossley, Harris, all very good headers of the ball. But the delivery straight into the hands of Adam Solid.
Kettering have coped with a couple of set pieces extremely well, because Kingstonian do have I think a distinct height advantage, certainly in the shape of Stewart, Crossley and Harris coming up for either corners or free kicks.
It's a great header by Crossley, got a kick in the head by McNamara. Player's gone on. They do favour this left-hand side. Norman finds Watkins, that is a long way from goal to do any immediate damage. There Watkins again. There's Chris Perkins. Careful, methodical build-up. But it did give Kingstonian time to get virtually everyone behind the ball. Midway through the first half. Still goalless here in the FA Trophy final. The throw's gone Kingstonian's way to Watkins' disappointment. Can't stress how hot and humid it is here at Wembley today. It's bound to take its effect on these players who only train a couple of times a week, and certainly at this stage of the season probably hardly training at all due to all the games they've had to pack in. Success at non-league level means that you're punished in terms of the fixtures that you have to cram in before the end of the season, and that's particularly happened to Kingstonian in the last few weeks. Pitcher. Do well to make a cross there. He chose the difficult route and it almost paid off. Luckett. And again, far too easy for Solid.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 occasions they've just really slung balls in from wide areas, and not particularly good wide areas at that. And I think it's always difficult for centre forwards to make the right type of run when balls are coming in as deep as that. But it's certainly food and drink as far as Adam Solid's concerned, the Kettering goalkeeper.
Kettering, one of the oldest football clubs in the country, and they've had several former players who went on to really make a name for themselves in the professional game, including the legendary Tommy Lawton and Andy Hunt, currently top scoring for Charlton Athletic, former West Bromwich Albion player. I think you could call that a foul, really.
I think you could call it GBH. What sort of challenge is that? I mean, that really is silly. I mean, that's got him everywhere, hasn't it? Round the neck, down the back.
It's like one of those leapfrog sessions they do in training. Carl Adams takes the free kick, looking for Watkins, who holds it up cleverly. The lay-off just a bit too strong. However, he's back in there again.
Well, it actually came about through that needless free kick that Simon Stewart had given, because Kingstonian thought they'd got the ball cleared away, but again, sloppy marking. They're coming out, but not really coming out efficiently enough, and it allowed Watkins to once again try his luck. There's 3 attempts he's already had in this opening 25 minutes. Again, isn't too far away. He is the danger man.
McNamara. Interception by Akumoa. Bowden's clearance. Well, I mentioned the experience and success in the trophy of the Kingstonian manager Jeff Chappell. Let's hear how he thinks the first half an hour has gone. He's with Nick Collins.
How the match is going? Well, it's developed into a little bit of a pattern now. It's very hard to get a tempo because it's so hot out there. You do feel for them, but no, I'm quite pleased, quite comfortable at the moment. Just lacking that little bit of cutting edge when we do get through. Thank you, Jeff.
Certainly is hot. That lovely flower in his lapel was only a seed when he arrived this morning. Pitcher with the ball for Mustafa. That's dangerous. And a throw to Kingstonian.
I think where Jeff Chappell will be pleased is that they haven't conceded a goal, given that they were under some pressure in that early moments of the game, but now he'll be hoping that his side now can have some form of domination. Try to take the game to Kettering, and perhaps Kettering, well, they did set about it very quickly indeed, and it is absolutely red hot down there. We're bound to feel effects of that.
Mustafa wins it back. Nakamura. This pitcher. He's had a little change of direction. Lockett. Caddy. And Mustafa dispossessed this time. And Ronnie Green couldn't keep that one in play. Collins has moved across from one bench to the other, and he's now talking to Kettering's Peter Morris.
Thoughts on the game so far? I think I'd rather be sat here than playing it. It's very warm out there. There's no real zip about the game. I think we give them the ball away far too easily. We have the ball and not too many of our players are looking to take part in the game. We're looking to defend and sit deep, hit the long balls. We're not holding it really up front. We've had two little chances, but I think overall they've had the majority of the game. All right, thank you.
Surprisingly negative viewpoint there from Peter Morris. I thought they'd been doing quite well myself, but managers are hard to please, aren't they?
That's why me and you were sat up here and he's over there.
At least he's warm. Crossley gets it away. Sexual back in again. Lockett's clearance is picked off by Adams. Carl Shutt tries his luck. He was a Wembley winner here with Bradford in the second division playoff final 4 years ago now, Carl Shutt. Also played for Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham, Manchester City and Bristol City in a terrific career. Perkins interception, but Simba wins it back for Kingstonian. Pitcher. Great ball in. Well, that was tempting. Either Simba or Green could have easily had the touch there, and or Akumoa coming across the 6-yard box as well.
Well, really, Jeff Pitcher has had two occasions where he really has not particularly got the cross right, but that time was absolutely superb. Drilled it into the near post. And as you rightly said, Akumoa and Simba going for the cross, but neither of them really being positive about getting on what was a fabulous cross from Pitcher.
Powering clearance there by Green. Akumoa's there to pick up the pieces again. Now Caddy in midfield. Kettering hassle their way back into possession. There's Caddy. It's a bit wasteful. Straight to Colin Bowden. And Kingstonian, I think it's Lockett, have a player lying injured, Colin Lockett. Tackle with full ground.
Well, that's late, isn't it? And Lockett feeling the full effects of that, and because of that, Brown is going to see the yellow card from Steve Dunn. I think that Brown very competitive indeed in that midfield area alongside Fisher and Adams, who set about Kingstonian very quickly in that area. Look at catching it right on the side of his left ankle, but Brown, seen experience in league football with Lincoln City. He's not happy, Peter Morris, and I am a little bit surprised. I think they have done well. I think that they have looked the better side out of the two. and certainly the side that have really created the better chances. But perhaps he may well feel that having had that period of play where they were creating chances, they haven't gone on and got a goal to show for it.
Colin Luckett back on his feet, and Phil Brown in the referee's book, the first caution of the game. He's still looking a little bit there, Luckett. Very experienced player and a big favourite with the Kingstonian fans. Over 250 games for the club now. Beaten to it by Bowden. And turned forward by Brown. And Watkins is on the end of it, up against Crossley. McNamara, the only player in support at the moment. Now others arriving from midfield, including Phil Brown here. And Mustafa gets it away from danger. Setchel's cross. Well, let's remind you of some big football action coming up in the next few days here on Sky Sports. Bolton against Ipswich on Sky Sports 2 and Sky Sports Extra, our playoff semi-final match tomorrow at midday. Bradford against Liverpool, of course, as the Premiership season draws to an end. That's on Sky Sports 1 beginning at 3. And simultaneously on Sky Sports 3, Southampton against Wimbledon to decide who goes down. Bowden, Adams. Now down this left-hand side, Craig Norman. Mustafa under a bit of pressure here. Setchel wouldn't give him a way out. Akamoa. Simba. And Bowden beaten to it by young Green. Adams came in to win it back. And the ball over the top for Watkins. Well, they dealt with that problem very impressively, Kingstonian. And now they've got a chance to break with Ronnie Green. Bishop tracking him all the way. That's got to go down as good defending by Kettering.
Perkins watched it very well indeed, and it was a well-timed tackle, but I think one of the reasons Jeff Chappell looked so as relaxed as he did was that he knows that his side can play better than what they have shown in this opening period. I think Kettering, what we've seen is them at their best in the sense of the work rate, their endeavour, the way that the tempo had been as far as they were concerned. I'm sure that as the game wears on, there'll be a lot more tired legs out there, and it will give Kingstonian a little bit more room to play. And that fella there will be hoping his side can exploit that, because they do have a lot of quality in their team.
Perkins still receiving treatment, just 20. Chris Perkins, and as I mentioned before, is on loan from Southend, who gave Kettering permission for him to play in this final. Had an excellent semi-final against Telford, and they just squeezed through by one goal on aggregate over the two legs, unlike Kingstonian, who, as I mentioned earlier, had 6 goals against Sutton United after a 1-1 draw at Sutton. Kettering on their way to the final eliminated some very famous non-league names like Walton and Hersham and Bishop Auckland in the earlier rounds. Simba's header on, but the linesman is flagged for offside. bit of the sparkle has gone out of the game from the opening 20 minutes, Brian.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I think given the conditions down there, pitch side, it's got to be 85, 90 degrees. Very difficult for these players to maintain the sort of pace that they'd set about the game. I think one of the areas that will disappoint Peter Morris is that when they have got forward, I don't think they've really done it with the amount of numbers he would have wished for. I think they've exploited at times a lack of pace in the rear guard for Kingstonian. Watkins in particular has had 3 or 4 occasions where he's got in behind the centre halves, but there's a lot of red and black shirts a long way away from him.
Now this looks more promising. Simba gets Akumoa into a great position. Kingstonian take the lead. Their longest serving player, Adi Akumoa, with as cool a finish as you'll see on a hot, sweltering day at Wembley.
Oh, this is all about pace. Once Simba held this ball in behind the Kettering rear guard, Bowden had no chance whatsoever. And it was whether Akumoa could keep his composure. He set his sights, he saw Solid coming towards him, and he did exactly that. That was a wonderful composed finish, because how often do you see strikers in that area of the field that look to blast the ball and either miss the target or hit the keeper, but not as far as Eddie Akumoa is concerned. A great finish.
Fisher trying to get Kettering straight back on level terms. The shot well blocked by Crossley, and now he's given it away. And that will settle Kingstonian considerably now.
Well, I said at the time, I think that Kettering's best chance was to try and convert a chance in that opening 20 minutes where they played so well.
That was a terrific effort.
Very good save too. Well, Phil Brown, who has been perhaps one of the liveliest midfield players on show, got in at the far post, decided to take it first time, looks to hit the far post, and Farrelly gets across very well. But this is the goal, there's a Simba ball, and that is the pace. And the pace of Akumoa was enough to take him away, and that's an excellent finish into the corner of the net. Solid had no chance.
The perfect moment for Kingstonian to score just before half-time. Stewart's given it away. Bowden's clearance. McNamara's layoff. And now Watkins. They've got more men forward than they've had at any time in the half here, Kettering. Fisher tries the shot, which really was wasteful.
Well, it was a great shame, because Carl Adams had got himself into a very good position to the right of him. Very ambitious attempt.
Space is opening up all of a sudden now. Green looking again for Akumoa. Eddie Akumoa has played over 300 games for Kingstonian and scored more than 100 goals in that time. He'd only managed 1 in the trophy so far this season. And he has given Jeff Chappell the perfect way to prepare his half-time team talk. Watkins. Pitcher has it back for Kingstonian. And just got a little nick on the ankle there from Matt Fisher.
Certainly, I think Kingstonian are as good as any side now when they have got possession, and it's about that now up till half-time. Can they keep the ball? Can they keep it at the right end of the field? And they are a good technical side that will possess a lot of quality, a lot of composure.
And just understandably giving a little bit of time by keeping possession. That was the theory anyway, but the goalkeeper Steve Farrelly gave it away with a bad kick. He's got away with it for the moment. Ashley's clearance, it's gone straight to McNamara. Watkins is with him again. Good challenge by Harris. And Pitcher got caught not once but twice there in quick succession.
Well, Brown's going to have to be careful. He's a very competitive midfield player. He's just pointing to Jeff Pitcher and say, I think you might have just conned you there a little bit, Mr. Dunn. But Pitcher, a lot of experience with Watford, and well, one little nutmeg, but Brown was making sure that he wasn't going to get too far away from him.
Phil Brown, who had an Achilles problem that made him out for this game. 33 now, in his second spell with the club. He had a professional career, as Brian mentioned, with Lincoln City. There'll be 2 minutes of stoppage time added. Mustafa suddenly saw the door swinging open there. Caddy turns it forward, Bowden underneath it. He's given it away to Green. Mustafa. And gets it back from Akumura, who's there again. Brilliant play. Oh, Simba was so close to getting the vital touch on the far post. Perkins helping to clear the danger.
Well, Akumura again. He gets the ball a little bit fortuitously. Fisher can't get the ball cleared away. He looks to just help it into the danger area, but that could have gone anywhere because Perkins and Shutt very nearly got in the way of each other.
Oh, what a body blow that could have been for Kingstonian in first half stoppage time, or rather for Kettering if Kingstonian had scored again. And the corner has come to nothing. Goal kick.
He's very lively, isn't he? Eddie Asamoah. I think that he certainly shone last year. I remember his pace and how distinctive he was, and the manner in which he tried to get in behind defenders, and likewise again, he hasn't had too many opportunities, but the one he did, what a fabulous goal.
And it is the goal that separates Kettering and Kingstonian as the half-time whistle sounds. There's Jeff Chappell on the way to yet another trophy triumph. Or can Kettering turn it round here in the second half? They certainly started arguably the more impressively of the two sides, but Eddie Asamoah took his opportunity so well. His pace and then his cool, calm control when met by the onrushing Adam Sollett, the Kettering goalkeeper, sliding the ball into the back of the net. And that goal has given Kingstonian a half-time lead here in the FA Trophy final. They're 1-0 up. Yes, thanks Marcus. They have taken off Dale Watkins, who came the closest to a goal for Kettering in that first half with that shot that just brushed past the post, and brought on Lee Hudson, who has been out injured. He had an arm injury that has not enabled him to train for quite a few weeks now, so something of a risk, I guess, in that respect, bringing him on here. Player who's had a long career in non-league football, and who, when he's not playing football, runs a poultry farm, would you believe?
He's popular at Christmas.
Will he be popular in May with the Kettering fans? Can he help to get them back into the game here? They're 1-0 down. Eddie Asamoah's fine finish for Kingstonian. Reminder that Kettering are in the red and black. Kingstonian, who normally play in red and white hoops, in the change strip today, the Brazilian yellow and blue. Almost Copacabana Beach weather as well here as Kettering goes straight on the attack.
Well, we talked in the first half how lively Phil Brown has been, and a very good set-piece routine, just getting the ball from McNamara. Again, an ambitious effort. He had one in the first half, he took first time, but Fowley made a good save, but this time couldn't find the target. But I think he's a player that Kettering will hope to get forward more in this second period.
Does have an excellent scoring record in his career as well, Phil Brown. Well, he's not been very prolific this season indeed. That could be said generally of Kettering, who struggled to get goals, though their defensive record, one of the best in the conference. They only conceded 50 in 42 league games, but they scored just 44, and only Sutton United, who were relegated, scored fewer goals than that.
think we can only hope with Hudson's introduction they can hold the ball up more. I think that was an area where Peter Morris was concerned about, although a little bit surprised Dale Watkins was a player to suffer, because out of the two strikers he looked the more threatening.
Fisher's cross goes well behind. Second season now with Kettering, Matt Fisher. He was a soldier with the British Army until he came out and got himself into non-league football. Well, Peter Morris not afraid to make the change during the half-time interval to try and force Kettering back into the picture here. He played at Wembley in his own playing career for Norwich against Aston Villa in a League Cup final 25 years ago now. They lost 1-0 that day, and Ray Graydon, who's now manager of Walsall, scored the winning goal for Villa from the penalty spot. Stewart's clearance, didn't really know where it had gone, and gets a free kick. And a little bit of wrestling going on there, which the referee has dealt with between him and McNamara.
There's a little bit of nonsense, isn't it, between McNamara and Stewart. Stewart we've seen on 4 or 5 occasions here, very aggressive centre half, and the attack team wrestling there. He just laughed about it at the end, Stewart.
McNamara, and he just got his foot there ahead of Phil Brown. Now Crossley for Kingstonian, straight against Brown.
He's got a lot of energy, hasn't he, Phil Brown? 6 goals from midfield this season, and you can see almost and sense that they've asked him to play in a little bit more of an advanced role ahead of the 2 midfield players, Fisher and Adams. And I think that's an area where Kingstonian are going to have to concentrate a little bit, because he can be a threat.
Clearance by Bowden. Such was a miss kick. He still had time to get there. In fact, has set up a promising attack here. It's 3 against 3 momentarily, with the substitute Hudson on the ball. Oh. Well, McNamara's shot almost testing Farrelly, as they had a distinct advantage here numerically for a moment.
Well, it's not a bad effort. I mean, it's all of 20 yards, and he'll be disappointed not to have got a little bit closer to the target. He set himself well enough. He had the composure, but really just sliced across the ball. It allowed it to go well wide of Steve Farrelly's goal, but that will encourage Kettering. You know, if you shots on target, it does give you a little bit of an initiative.
Adams sidestepped the challenge from Pitcher and then gave it away rather clumsily. He might be made to pay for that as Green takes Kingstonian forward and rather wastes it.
Some experience from the youngster. I think that he actually has impressed. Some good footwork that he's shown during the afternoon. A right-sided attacker play on the left side of attack, and vice versa for Akamoa, but it certainly worked as far as Kingstonian's got with a goal, because it was Akamoa that went through and scored. But Simba is the focal point. He's the one that he try and hit the ball up to, and allow Green and Akamoa to see whether they can get in and around him and get goals. But what Mark Wright said at half-time was, I think the space was developed. I think Kingstonian will then start taking charge and more control of this football match.
Akamoa doing well. Caddy plays it long to Simba. Green down the left-hand side. Kettering back in possession. All shot for that. It's a clever play. Finds Fisher in space. There's Hudson. 2 in the box. Mohammed was crossed straight against Mark Harris. Now Ronnie Green has only played half a dozen times in the first team. Pushed on by Simba. Pitcher there to win it back. Simba again, the French international. And the ball seems drawn to Pitcher at the moment. He goes down under the challenge from Fisher. The referee gives advantage. Mustafa.
It's been a good battle, hasn't it? It really has been a good battle between Setchell and Mustafa. Both players, perhaps not the best defenders, but love to get forward. And it's been very much a 1 against 1 on that side of the field.
Former Kettering player, in fact, Tarkan Mustafa, who's still wide right and in possession now. Ooh, well, the goalkeeper seemed to have a reasonably routine cross to deal with there, but rather anxiously knocked it onto the top of his net.
Well, this may well be Adam Solid's last game for the club. He's indicated he may want to move in the summer. I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted to leave Kettering if this had dropped in the back of the net, because that could have been an almighty calamity for him.
First choice for the England non-league team, and like several of these players, will be joining up with the England squad. They play Wales in a semi-pro international next week. The goalkeeper comes, and this time got an important fist to the ball. Bowden, the captain, looking for Hudson. It's a terrific ball. Well, we might have been critical of Mustafa's defensive qualities up to now, but my word, he rescued Kingstonian from a tricky situation then, Brian.
Oh, he had to be spot on. He really did, because he was the last defender. And if he committed the wrong sort of tackle, that would have resulted in Hudson getting forward and free and perhaps scoring. But it's his pace initially. His challenge has come across him. Hudson actually looks as if he's got the first touch, and I think there is, perhaps because of the referee's positioning there, he didn't really have a clear view of it, but I actually think Hudson's got the first initial touch, and it was Mustafa that really just got his body across him, and I think there was a clear claim there for a free kick, and Mustafa being the last defender, he could well have been in trouble.
Kettering fans angry at that decision. Hudson on the ball again, and that's useful. Fisher in one position, shot just behind him. His downward header carried no real power.
Well, that's a threat, but unfortunately Kettering haven't been in those positions enough to allow Carl Shutt to get into that area. Although he's playing as a right wing back, we know he's got a very good eye for goal.
There goes Simba meantime, looking for Green. Both Simba and Akumoa inside the penalty box as it's pulled back to Caddy. He's done really well. He tried to meticulously place it, but just got it wrong. The game's opening up a bit now as Phil Brown is brought down. He and Pitcher are having a real old battle there. The two number 8s in the middle of the field.
Well, this is the effort from Caddy, and he's a little bit fortuitous with his first touch there. You can see what he's trying to do, really just bend it and drift it into that far corner. But his technique let him down.
Just 20, junior Caddy. First season for Kingstonian. We still lead 1-0. Carl Shutt for Kettering, and that's got to be a free kick as well. Pretty obvious foul by Mark Harris on McNamara.
Well, it really is a clumsy challenge, isn't it? By Harris. McNamara's really going nowhere, and he just ought to be holding him up. And he's barged him over right in front of the referee's assistant, and well, the right sort of delivery here. You know, you're putting unnecessary pressure on your rear guard.
Carl Adams takes the free kick, looking for Bowden. Terrific goal. The captain brings Kettering level. Superb set piece by Kettering. And it's 1-1.
Well, that'll make him a little bit happier. But I said it was a needless free kick to give away by Mark Harris, and it's a wonderful delivery from Carl Adams with his left foot. A couple of steps, drilled into that area with a lot of pace. It's always difficult to defend against, and that's exactly what Luckett and Crossley found themselves, and Bowden very much the more committed. We can see the desire here to get between the two defenders and plants a header firmly beyond Farrelly to, well, what a game we now have on our hands. That certainly will be a huge boost to Kettering.
Only his second goal of the season. And there's going to be a second yellow card here. Fisher, who's rather tried the referee's patience once too often.
He's given Steve Dunn no alternative but to give a free kick and a yellow card. But Luckett just really trying to ride the tackle, just knocking the ball inside, having received the ball from Simba. You can see it's late.
Kingstonian have taken the free kick. Akumoa's pace gets him into a dangerous position again. Goal kick, the outcome.
That's fantastic defending from Lee Hudson. Asamoah does possess phenomenal pace, as we witnessed in the first half when he scored his goal, and he looked as if he was going to be free on this left-hand side. But Hudson, very bright, very alert, very tenacious to win the ball back, but really has livened up the Kettering faithful now.
Confirmation of the caution for Matt Fisher. Confirmation of the score as well, with just under an hour gone. Remember, we have to have a winner today. There are no replays anymore in this competition. Extra time and penalties if needed. Kettering will be used to that. As I told you in the first half, they had 3 replays in the earlier rounds. This, remember, their 11th game in the competition. McNamara's cross. Farrelly had to be alert to the danger then. Well, that certainly had the effect of livening the game up. Bowden's goal. The skipper bringing Kettering level. A long ball over the top by Stewart, and Bowden's got to defend now, and also sensibly. He was on Cambridge United book something like 10 years ago now, when they came to Wembley in a 4th Division playoff final against Tranmere. He didn't figure, of course, as a youngster that day, but he's very much figured here today for Kettering. Green showing a nice bit of skill on the ball for Kingstonian. But the cross wasteful. Well, the impetus with Kettering now.
It's quite interesting because they came out in the second half having made that change at half time. Hudson, who has certainly had a little bit more tenacity, but again, you can't help thinking it was a silly free kick to give away. But here you can see the desire, and it actually comes off Crossley's head, but Bowden will certainly be claiming it. But there he gets between the 2 defenders, and it's a nick off Crossley that just loops over the goalkeeper Farrelly.
He's got himself in terrible trouble. The linesman's flag's gone up. The goal will not count. The celebration's cut short. Well, he doesn't know it at the moment. Now, quite why the linesman signalled, I can't tell you at the moment. Well, now they have realised.
I think he's given offside, and I'm not really sure how he's managed to do that, because Steve Farrelly realises he's made an absolutely almighty blunder. He does the first part right, then he gets himself into needless trouble. He's actually given it for offside, I think, against Hudson, because the referee's assistant was very quick to flag. Peter Morris is absolutely infuriated with the 4th official. Not an awful lot he can do, and thankfully for the linesman you see in picture, he's far enough away from this irate Kettering manager not to get a serious blast.
Well, if I can recall that correctly, it was knocked back by a defender, so that's a real controversial moment here at Wembley Stadium, with Kettering, who went a goal down just before half-time, denied the opportunity to go a goal up on the hour. Well, the first half was a rather gentle pace at times, perhaps understandably so, after a busy opening in this terrific heat, but it's really livened up now.
Well, this is really where he gets himself in all sorts of problems. Just look at how quickly Hudson closed him down initially. It's McNamara that gets the touch there, comes off the goalkeeper, it falls to Hudson, he finishes it superbly well. I think that's a poor decision.
And so does he. Mustafa dispossessed. And a strong challenge by Stewart. Kingstonian have got to try and regain their composure here. It's very much Kettering in the driving seat at the moment. The trophy holders pegged back, level on the scoreline. It could have been even worse. The header away by Crossley. Lockett's clearance. And at the moment, Kingstonian have found themselves pressed well back.
Well, they're having to chase the game at the moment. They can't get the ball back. Kettering are very much in the ascendancy. They are the most dominant side out there on the football field.
Important headed clearance by Matt Crossley, but Kettering drive on, and the referee saw, I think, use of a hand there. Free kick to Kingstonian.
Well, Setchell's a little bit unfortunate, but again, I think that epitomises the desire between the two sides. Setchell showing more of it than the Kingstonian players.
Craig Norman's header didn't go where he wanted it to, but Simba a little slow out of the blocks this time. As we all know, a goal can do wonders for a team's confidence, and at the moment Kettering are really buzzing here. But so is Eddie Akumoa, the Kingstonian goal scorer. Thought he was going to get a free kick there from Fisher's challenge, and the linesman has flagged to indicate that's gone over the touchline. It's a throw. Well, let's join Nick Collins. He can have a quick word with Peter Morris.
Peter, you're back in it at 1-1, but what was your view of that disallowed effort? Well, I think I'm like everybody else. I thought it was in. Well, it was a goal, but obviously the linesman did show something different. All right, thanks a lot.
Well, I don't think that illuminated us too much. As Mustafa crosses, Caddy under the loose ball, and it almost found its way through Kettering's defence this time, and the goalkeeper Adam Sollitt was the calmest man about then as Green throws him down.
I've got a feeling Peter Morris might want to say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think he probably saw a visit to Lancaster Gate looming if he'd said what he really felt. We may live in a country that prides itself on free speech, but that doesn't apply to criticism of referees.
Well, to be fair to Steve Dunn, I think he's gone off the lead of the referee's assistant. I think that he's the one that's made the decision.
Now he's got another decision to make, and he has pointed to the penalty spot. Kettering may be feeling that some kind of justice has been done.
Well, it was McNamara's run. It's Mustafa that catches his heel, and it's certainly done enough as far as Steve Dunn's concerned. There's McNamara driving in there, and that actually looks as if he stumbled. I actually don't think there's an awful lot of contact there, if any at all, and I think Mustafa there is, well, he can't really believe that Steve Dunn has given that, but it's done enough there to allow the referee to point to the spot.
And Craig Norman, who's already scored 10 penalties this season, will take it, and not surprisingly will score. And Kettering are 2-1 in front, and this time it's Kingstonian who feel hard done by. That was never a penalty, but it still appears on the scoreline as a successfully converted strike. And it's 2-1 to Kettering.
Well, this is pretty calm and composed. You can see why he's had so much success, can't you? He knows where the goalkeeper's going, and but I wasn't convinced about the penalty here because McNamara looks up and he trips. He just trips. I mean, that is an unbelievable decision. It really is. Well, maybe the managers can't say it, but I think the commentators can, and that was a bad decision.
And as I said at the time, maybe a little bit of justice has been done there, but you've still got to play the game to the laws of the game.
Well, we had sympathy from Kettering's point of view when they had the goal chalked off. Well, that time they got a little bit of luck, and now finding themselves 2-1 ahead, and they really are dominating this game.
And another great ball into the box, but this time too close to goalkeeper Farrelly. So the holders are a goal behind.
What's actually beginning to pay, Alan, at the moment is I think the games are catching up a little bit on Kingstonian. They've had an unbelievable schedule over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Kettering have had it a little easier, and you can see really the advantage they've gained from that. They look fresher, they look busier, and they certainly are showing a greater desire to win this match.
Pitcher hits it long for Green to chase, and Norman gets it away. The penalty, his 15th goal of the season, 11 of them from the penalty spot. I don't know how on earth Kettering have managed to win so many penalties this season. Or perhaps I do now, having seen how they got that one.
That's a bad twist. That is a bad twist. He did well to get up from that. I think that really is hurt him. And I think Steve Dunn, as far as that penalty is concerned, I think he may well look back on this and wonder how afterwards he's given it. You'll see the stumble there. He's tripped over his own leg. He has tripped over his own leg. Just watch this now. Whoop, there you go. He's given it, and it absolutely in true amazement. Just to get Jeff Chapman's view down the touchline of what he thought. We heard what Peter Morris thought about the goal that he had disallowed. Did we? Well, diplomatically anyway.
Noticeably cooler inside the stadium as well in the last 15 minutes or so. As Crossley's free kick is only half cleared there by Carl Shutt, and it comes to Ackermoor! His second, Kingstonian a level.
That's amazing because Kingstonian were just about to make the substitution. But as this ball came up in the air off Carl Shutt, they really couldn't get the ball away. And we talked about how dominant they are as far as set pieces are concerned, and with the height advantage they have. And it was Mark Harris that really challenged for the ball there against Chris Perkins, and Ackermoor, well, he really has been buzzing this afternoon. He's been everywhere, and certainly the right time and in the right place, and for his 12th goal of the season, a wonderful finish.
Well, that's a smashing second half now. Howden's clearance high into the crowd. 20 minutes to go, the game back in the balance. And Harris having trouble, or is it Stewart who's going to take the throw in the end, having trouble getting the ball back off the fans there as he hurls it in. And there's Simba, just wouldn't sit down quickly enough for him as Carl Shutt gets it clear. Matt Crossley, the Kingstonian captain, has been knocked in behind him. Hudson's there, McNamara in space. Can he put Kettering back in front? He still could, and still could, and Fisher could as well. But in the end, neither of them could hit the target.
Well, really, they've got done, Kingstonian, on the counter-attack. It's a swift raid from Kettering. Hudson's causing all sorts of problems. McNamara's first touch wasn't the best. Took him away from goal. Farrelly could quite easily have given away another penalty, and Fisher isn't far away, but Kettering had numbers in the box. You do feel that they ought to have finished that off.
Mustafa. Ackermoor sure to receive it if he wants on the edge of the box. Gone for the long ball to young Green. That's not a bad header, and a chance for Simba. What a chance.
Well, defending too deep, Kettering. They really are. They get, certainly in the last 4 or 5 minutes, got pushed back. Just look how many defenders they have too deep, and Simba, with his experience, he lined it up very well indeed, but couldn't finish.
Here's Mustafa. I tell you what, he doesn't need any encouragement to get forward, does he? What a run by Mustafa. And it's come out to Simba. And this time, no mistake. Well, yes, I thought for 1 second there from the reaction of the Kingstonian players that was going to be ruled out, but that goal stands. And Mustafa, who scored the winning goal last season, has made what could be the winner this season.
Oh, what a run from Mustafa, and rightly so. He was the instigator. He's got to have travelled all of 30-40 yards. There he picks the ball up, and he's only got one thought in his mind: I'm going to attack this Kettering rearguard. Exactly what he did. He lets rip. The keeper makes an almighty hash of it. Simba very nearly did, and he thanks his lucky stars. The Frenchman follows up, as you'd expect strikers to do, and certainly a striker of his ability. But really, that was about Mustafa and how quickly he got onto the ball and drove forward. And Simba, the grateful striker.
12 goals now for the man on loan from Leyton Orient. The way he sunk to his knees and held his head in his hands, I thought for a moment the linesman had flagged and disallowed it, but it was sheer joy on the part of Amara Simbat. Remember, played here for the full French international team a few years ago against England. They lost that day. He also played here for Leyton Orient in the Division 3 playoff final last season. They lost that as well. But he ended his duck and finished on the winning side in this remarkable second half. Good play again by Kettering. Brown in possession for them. It's a good run. Ooh, important clearance by Matt Crossley, the Kingstonian skipper. Well played. Forward here, Kingstonian, and look, it's going all the way. Bowden comes out with the ball for Kettering. Brown. 5 minutes to go plus stoppage time, and I would think, Brian, there'll be a fair bit of that. We've had a number of substitutions and injuries.
Well, there's a lot happened, doesn't it, in the second half, and it's very difficult to keep track. Another substitution we're just about to see from Kingstonian. But there are a lot of tired legs out there, and both sets of players have put in an immense amount of effort, and no more than Ronnie Green, this youngster. Been very impressed with him. Great footwork, great technique, and certainly another player getting a warm round of applause.
And a place on the bench now beside his manager as 20-year-old defender Luke Basford, former Bristol Rovers player, goes on in his place. There's there to be another dramatic twist in this excellent trophy final. Picture has it back. Get the energy to keep running that strongly this late in the game.
Well, you've been running on empty now, haven't you?
Latest substitute Basford gets his first touch. He's given it away though. Here's Jeff Chappell's remarkable record in this competition, set to have another successful chapter. Or can Peter Morris's Kettering still rescue something in this game? 3 minutes to go.
Well, we talk about rebuilding Wembley and having a place for all the legends. I think there should be a place for Jeff Chappell when you look at the success that he's had here.
Yes, if Kingstonian hold on now, it will be his 5th success in this competition in the last 7 seasons. Of course, when you think what he did at Woking in FA Cup competitions, the number of Football League clubs they gave a hard time to. That memorable 4-2 win, was it, at West Bromwich Albion a few years back. And they only went down by a goal to nil at Everton once, I remember. Here's Lee Worthy pressing for them. One more goal should clinch it now, and he picks out Lucky far post. Well, that was a very important challenge. Hopkins got back a long way to make it.
You would have thought at this stage of the game, when you're winning 3-2, as a manager, you see your left back on the far post on the right side of attack. It's amazing, isn't it? They really have gone for it. And, well, he thought, didn't he? He thought Colin Luckett had really sealed it for them.
Into the final 2 minutes. The clock ticking away, and it's a very loud noise at the moment if you're a Kettering player or supporter. Kingstonian quite happy just to keep it in that corner, keep it in this half. Well shot, failing to keep possession. McNamara's clearance was a tired one, and so was that challenge.
Well, this is perfect for Kingstonian, isn't it? Because there's 1 or 2 rash challenges now being made by Kettering, but the ball is in the right end of the field as far as Kingstonian are concerned. Just keep possession. Just count the clock down now.
We're into the last minute at Wembley. The challenge by Harris. Crossley, steady Eddie as ever, back covering when Harris had gone forward. Here's Agamoa and Pitcher. Mustafa always available down that right-hand side. Saunders. I don't think he's going to appreciate him taking too many risks like that. Well, he's got away with it. And found Simba. There's Worthy. He just wouldn't sit down quickly enough. Brown now, and on Adams drives and finds Duke down the right. 5-6 Kettering players forward here. The cross was hit with hope rather than accuracy. However, they got it back here, Kettering. Dixon's little header took the ball away from danger. And I understand there will be 4 minutes of stoppage time. It's not really what Kingstonian wanted to see, but maybe Lee Worthy can go on here now he's offside.
Ooh, that was tight. That really was tight.
Now, I don't know what the linesman has seen or heard, maybe here. He's got a good in there. Whatever it was, it appears to have been ignored by referee Dunn, who's just got on with it and given the free kick anyway. Unnecessary little intervention. Kettering no, but things are looking grim. In their first final appearance for 21 years, as Simba goes forward, and here's Pitcher. He could finish them off.
What a great shame. Look at they're screaming at him, but it's tired legs and everybody really is all over the place at the moment. There's not an awful lot of discipline out there, just a great desire to win this match.
Carl Shutt, can he bring Kettering level deep into stoppage time? Mustafa hooks it clear. He's had a very good game.
Oh, he's been excellent. What an athlete as well, what an athlete. Capabilities of getting up and down that right-hand side all afternoon.
In the Football League for Barnet. Now the Kingstonian fans shrilly whistling all around the stadium now, but there's a couple of minutes still to go before Jeff Chappell can celebrate another trophy triumph. Doesn't matter how often you do it, it feels just as sweet the next time. Maybe a bit sweeter than that water, which is probably a little bit warm by now. Well, this is playing into Kingstonian's hands. Kept possession and is running the clock down. Akumoa, 2 goals, certainly one of the contenders for the man of the match today for Kingstonian. And the holders have been given a free kick. Anxious looks on the bench now as they know we tick towards the final 60 seconds. Jeff Chappell's remarkable stranglehold on this competition looks set to continue. Crossley's free kick into the corner, intelligent. And they almost got a corner out of it. McNamara's clearance.
People will tell you can't score from there, can you? Not when you're defending against it and you have to get back up the other end of the field. That's exactly what Kettering have to do now.
Just keep the ball will be the plea on Chappell now, but they've done rather better than that as Pitcher drives it forward. It's a little bit wild from the young substitute Basford. And when the ball's back in flight here, we could well hear the final whistle. No, Mr. Dunn wants to keep us going a little longer. Simba, Basford, 4 forward yet again for Kingstonian. Here's Leeworthy, Lockett! What a chance to make it absolutely certain.
Well, that really would be game, set and match. He ought to have scored there. Basford, the substitute, does brilliantly. Sits it up the far post. Leeworthy helps it back in. I ought to have scored.
And for only the third time in the history of the FA Trophy, the same team has retained it 12 months later. Scarborough did so in the mid-1970s, Woking under Jeff Chappell in 1994 and again in 1995. Now Kingstonian join that list of honour. A very good second half, which has been enjoyed, I suspect, by fans of both sides here. Kettering will be devastated at this moment, but when they look back on it next week, they know they have the satisfaction of having played their part. A terrific advert for conference football. Once the heat had subsided a little, the football and the excitement and the entertainment came to the fore. And these Kingstonian players know they've got another long night at the bar to look forward to. It's tears for the losers. It's beers for the winners.
It can be a cruel place going to Wembley when you're losing football matches. There's Carl Adams, but it can also be a delightful place when you win. Simba may well have been here for the French national side, but this will mean just as much. And the travelling hordes of the Kingstonian fans come in great numbers. What a wonderful job Jeff Chappell has done with this football club. Certainly in the shadows of very close neighbours, Chelsea of course. I think the reserve side still play at Kingstonian. And they've got a great relationship, and of course Chelsea here in the FA Cup final next Saturday, and they'll hope to repeat their neighbours' success, but I'm sure that there'll be words of comfort to Kettering, because they really have given a magnificent performance. They really have. Their skipper Colin Bowden has been excellent, got the goal that got them back into the game just after half time, and what a second half we had. And well, Peter Morris discussing there with Phil Brown the rights and wrongs of what should have happened, but there's a lot to contemplate on.
That's been an excellent performance by Kettering, reaching this stage of the competition in a season when they've had so many league disappointments. And at this level, you make absolutely sure you've got pictorial evidence of your big day. It's not awash with national newspaper photographers out there. So Mark Harris, who's been there and done it all through the leagues, makes sure he's got one for his own album, just in case nobody else takes that picture. The great thing about the game at this level is there's a genuine camaraderie, I think, between most clubs, and there's some generous applause from the Kingstonian fans as well as the Kettering players make their way up the famous 39 steps, I think it is, isn't it? Led by their skipper Colin Bowden, whose goal brought Kettering back into this game. Terrific headed goal from a free kick. And they took the lead, only to see it swept away. And I think the expression on their faces tells the story. Big disappointment for Carl Shutt there at the age of 38. That's his last opportunity possibly to appear at this famous stadium. Martin Peters, the guest of honour today. And I'm sure some of these young lads will treasure the handshake from one of England's all-time greats almost as much as the losers' medal they're receiving now. gets their medal, and Peter Morris gets another loser's medal. What a disappointment for him after his appearance here as a player a quarter of a century ago now. But his team certainly contributed to that excellent spectacle in the second half in particular. Matt Crossley is about to lead Kingstonian up those steps. He has a remarkable record at Wembley. It's now the 5th time he's been a winner here. In his Wycombe Wanderers days, he was twice successful in the trophy final, then in the 3rd Division playoff, and of course he captained Kingstonian 12 months ago. Had to quit professional football because of a back injury. But ironically, he's hardly missed a game for the K's, as they're known, in the last 2 years. And now he's going to lead them up the steps again to receive the FA Trophy. It didn't have very far to travel this time, did it? Straight back to the Kings Meadow Stadium. Genial, laid-back character, Matt Crossley. Big pal of Steve Guppy, the former Wycombe winger, now doing so well for Leicester City. He has had his moments, of course, inside this stadium for Leicester, only this season. Kingstonian are the best team in the FA Trophy once again. And it has a special ring to it, doesn't it? Umbro Trophy winners 2000.
Disappointed really with the result. First half we were very poor. Got a right to off at half time, rightfully so. The occasion got to us really, and we let them play and we stood off them. Second half I thought we were by far the better team, but didn't get the breaks in the end, and obviously we lost.
Must have been a good game to watch. It was hard to watch as a manager because both teams looked as though they were likely to concede goals. Unfortunately for us, once we've got in front, we've defended very poorly. But I thought overall we've had more chances than Kingstonian. Great credit to my players the way they played second down.
Essentially today you've won the game and then lost it.
What happens? For the first time all season I've seen one come off Adam Solid. He's played, I don't know, 50, 60 games for us this year, and I've never seen him do that, and that's cost us a goal. But without his saves during the run, we would have never made it here anyway. But the lad's a bit down really. It's not a difficult shot, and it's come out again, and he knows it shouldn't do, but it's unfortunate the fella stuck in the net.
First half, I think we started well first 20, I thought Dow put us in the lead, put us one up, but we were disappointed with our first half performance. We went along too much and didn't pass it. So we had a chat at half time, and the second half we really come out, and I thought we knocked it about well, and we got a goal back, and then we had a disallowed goal, which I'd like to have a look at. But we've gone 2-1 up, and I thought this was it, but it weren't meant to be, and these things happen in football, and it's hard to know what to say really.
Bittersweet afternoon for you. Not too many players can say they've tucked away a penalty at Wembley, but tempered of course by eventual defeat.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get a penalty, and when we did get it, I got, obviously we're nervous, but once I got up there I was confident. I put it away, but it hasn't really sunk into me yet. We're just disappointed losing. Goal means nothing at the minute.
You say you were nervous when you stepped up to take the penalty. It didn't look like it. This phenomenal record continues, even at Wembley.
Yeah, I never when he first gave it. Once I put the ball on the spot, I was confident I'd hit the back of the net.
I think the first half was very close. Maybe they edged it first half, but in the second half, we got a bit disappointed. We done everything right. We changed a few things. We started pushing our wing backs on and getting a bit tighter in midfield, and I think it worked for us. Brought Leon, used his pace, and things were just going so well for us. And then I don't know. I just don't know what happened, to be honest. I don't know whether we got pushed further back, or I don't know. I just don't know what happened in the end.
Obviously, been a great occasion. Great to play out at Wembley, but obviously a disappointing result at the end.
Not often the Poppies go 2-1 up and then go on to lose. Doubly disappointing in that sense, I suppose.
Very much so, yeah. Obviously when you go 2-1 up, 10-15 minutes ago, you think, right, just shut up shop and hopefully keep them out.
And the penalty incident took us through that?
Well, obviously I got through and he just clipped me from behind. I went down and obviously it's penalty. So obviously when 2-1 up, you think, right, we're going to win the game, but want to be.
The supporters, you've got to give
got to give them a mention because they've been outstanding, not just today but through the whole season, on the cup runs, long trips to Workington and Bishop Auckland. They were magnificent and they did the club proud.
And what's the plan tonight? Drown your sorrows?
Yeah, I don't normally have a drink, but I think I might have 1 or 2 tonight. Yeah, I feel.
The 2 conference clubs were a credit to the league, to the Conference League. Some good football, no real malice in the game, plenty of sportsmanship and a tremendous following from us. Almost had 12,000-14,000 people, marvellous.
Just going to talk about the fans there. I was chatting to a few of them after the final whistle had gone, and far from being downhearted, they were smiling and joking. They know they've had some wonderful memories today.
Well, yeah, it's better than walking off sulking, you know, and not really played. We've played some good football. As I keep saying, we're really known as a tight defensive unit, but today I think it's caught us out on our legs. Little areas on the pitch where we've done all right for an hour and a quarter, and we got tired. And I think we've made a couple of unforced errors, and it's cost us goals. But credit to the boys, they kept at it. And so supported by these people here, our supporters are marvellous.
And Kettering Town on the map after this weekend?
Well, I think we've been on the map for the last 50 years, but it would have been nice to have won it.
The date, May the 14th, 2000. The venue, Kettering Town Football Club. The day after, the afternoon before. Following the Poppies' spirited performance in the FA Umbro Trophy final, the team consider themselves unfortunate to have walked away empty-handed, and you can't really blame them. For that reason, and for the fact that Kettering boasts some of the most dedicated supporters outside of the Football League, and that there would always be a great turnout of loyal followers, as Kettering returned home from their base for the last few days in St Albans to a fantastic reception. No one, however, could have predicted the extent to which Kettering fans made sure their team knew they were gallant heroes, despite coming away empty-handed as eventual runners-up in the non-league's equivalent of the FA Cup.
Yes, mate. Oh, what are you doing? Had it out the window on the way
Thousands adorn the streets, the pavements, the shop fronts and just about every other corner of Kettering Town Centre. The look on the face of a few summed up the collective thoughts of all, but generally people were able to cover up their underlying feelings of disappointment, respecting of course the fact that their team had come so near and should still be extremely proud of their achievements. The moment came when the team coach arrived back at Rockingham Road to a worthy round of applause. Naturally, the players were feeling a little bit dejected. Their spirits were given a lift by the immense support as they stepped off the team coach to deposit their kit inside the ground.
Gonna give Dad a kiss. Come on, give him a kiss. Cheers.
totally different team. I have to drive back 50 miles an
Yeah, lovely. Okay, turn
Come on,
That won't be until we're on camera. How big a loop do you want? Tight loop or a loop in it?
A short while later, the players were ready to board the open top bus to take part in a procession around the town centre to greet the fans. This would prove a mutual show of respect and admiration for both parties involved. The players for their never-say-die attitude in one of the most thrilling FA Umbro Trophy finals in recent history, and the supporters for their sustained effort in backing the team they so adore.
Come on the bus.
There he is. That's usually the only one that had his suit on. Chris. Oh yeah. We're going to follow him for a while.
And as the coach starts off on its crawl through the Kettering streets covered in red and black, we'll leave you to enjoy a proud, although ultimately unfulfilled moment in the club's history.
Well, the bus leaving the ground at Rockingham Road on its journey to the town centre, where the players will be introduced to the crowd. No doubt there. Also the Mayor of Kettering, Councillor John Coleman, who will want to welcome the players back. They put up a fantastic performance at Wembley yesterday afternoon. It wasn't to be that they bring the trophy back, but nevertheless the fans who have already gathered at Rockingham Road to welcome the players home are showing their appreciation, and I dare say as we make the trip along the streets of Kettering there'll be more of the same. He's looking a little bit dejected. I suppose that's natural, although I was with them last night. They were able to have a bit of a celebration themselves. Perhaps people would reckon that it should have been an evening of a fairly sombre mood, but not a bit of it, with all the fans coming out in numbers this morning, most of them with smiles on their faces. They all want to say thank you to the players who have given them such a run for their money this season. They say the club would say, had they the chance to do so, that if perhaps even a quarter of those who were lining the streets today, who went to Wembley yesterday, came on a Saturday afternoon, well, it would be a much more thriving club than perhaps it is now, and more honours might be up for grabs, but let's take nothing away from these fans who travelled all over the country to follow their heroes. It's now their chance to say thank you to them, and for the players in turn to say thank you to the fans who have supported them so well. It really is a glorious morning, young and old lining the streets. Some of these youngsters probably haven't got a clue what's going on, but the vast majority certainly have. The bus making its way slowly along Rockingham Road, both sides of the street lined with red and black players there, beginning to smile a little bit now. I know how disappointed they were to see Wayne Duke waving to the crowd, but all the players applauding the fans, and it really is a bit of a celebration. Heaven knows what it would have been like if Kettering had won. Plenty of laughter on top of the bus, and plenty of smiles as well amongst the fans. They've walked behind the bus all the way from the ground at Rockingham Road, everybody heading for the town centre, where the players, as I said, are going to be presented to the crowds. Flags, bunting all over the place, and it does seem as if the whole town has come alive. The players, I know, have appreciated the support of the fans right through the season. They've travelled all over the place. Workington, Bishop Auckland on a Wednesday, I remember. A couple of hundred made their way up to the northeast of England then to see Kettering win that replay. Another step on the way to Wembley, and now, after that Wembley dream has come and gone, it's time still to celebrate. Hunting horns, flags, red and black shirts, and it really is a treat. Fortunately, gorgeous weather in Kettering this morning, blazing hot, and that as much as anything else, I suppose, has brought people out onto the streets. But there's a real carnival atmosphere. There's always those who can find time for a pint as well, and why not? Players on top of the bus, one or two of the wives. Sarah Bowden there, Colin's wife, appreciating alongside her husband the chants and support of the fans. We've made it down to the horse market. Not a place we'd expect many people to be, but there they are. Peter Morris, of course, was bitterly disappointed that his side didn't earn the spoils yesterday.
He's got your shirt on.
Carl Shutt too. He will wonder how many more chances he'll get to grace the hallowed turf at Wembley? Well, no one will, of course, at least in style Wembley as we know it. So these players, Jack McNamara there, Craig Norman looking a bit pensive, a bit dejected, but they'll all have their memories, and in the days to come they'll think back on the contribution they made to what really was a fantastic game of football. A real credit to the conference and non-league football. Still the applause ringing out. Everywhere you look, there's cottage shirts, flags, banners, hats. Hats really all shapes and sizes, if the piece known. Some bigger than a lot of the heads they're resting on top of. But it's just such a lovely atmosphere. I wasn't around in 1979. Well, that's not quite true. I was, but I wasn't part of the celebrations when the team came back defeated then, but by all accounts it was no different from this. And there's certainly a lot of honour in defeat, and all these people recognise just how much effort the players have put into what has been a very long trophy campaign. On every street corner, fans looking for the best vantage point from which they can see their heroes. The traffic coming to a standstill won't please the ordinary punters of Kettering, but all things stop for football, particularly when you've been to Wembley and you've come back not as winners but as heroes. That's what the players of Kettering Town have certainly done this Sunday morning. I wonder how many of these people actually went to Wembley. Pretty well most of them, I would have thought. It was a fantastic turnout. Very nearly 14,000 people from Kettering to cheer on the players. Paul Cox there, he missed out. Injury stopped him from his dream of playing at the Twin Towers. Lee Hudson, who had that goal disallowed, he'll wonder about that, I'm sure, for many a long year. Probably bounce his grandson or something on his knee in years to come and say, remember that day when I had a goal disallowed at Wembley. Well, not content just to watch the bus go by, they're all following. Turning now out of Bowling Green Road. Chris Perkins, who, well, 3 or 4 weeks ago wouldn't have dreamt of any of this. They're alongside Dale Watkins. All the players done their bit. Chairman Peter Mallinger, well, I wonder what thoughts are going through his mind. He's fought over the years to try and attract the crowds back to Rockingham Road. Perhaps if this doesn't do it, nothing will. Gary Setchell, player who scored the goal, of course, in the semi-final that got Kettering to Wembley. His name will be legend in the annals of Kettering Town's history.
We'll just pass them up.
The players, they can still smile, although fairly subdued smiles. Phil Brown talking to Ian Ridgway there. Bus now heading towards the pedestrianised zone for those who know Kettering. They're even on the rooftop of the hotel, and still the applause ringing out.
Who come out of the bingo hall? You must be Paul.
Phil Brown's young son, he's enjoying himself. Adam Sollitt, well, it was disappointing for him, but he's still able to smile. Slowly but slowly, the bus makes its way towards the massed gathering. I can see ahead of us hundreds, thousands of people who gathered I think it's taken the players a bit by surprise, this. I think they're perhaps a little bit overwhelmed by it all. I'm sure they didn't expect to see so many people coming out. They might have done had they won, but this really is quite something. Now people are beginning to mass. And we can see there, it's just a fantastic turnout. Well, I don't know how many people are there. There must be thousands. Balloons, flags, massed together, and it really is a fantastic sight. Those of you who watch NTV, I know there's lots of you will know that I go all over watching Kettering. I've been doing for years, but I've not seen anything like this. It really is a wonderful, wonderful turnout to welcome home the players. Songs ringing out, singing, and the players can feel proud that they're part of this. Matt Fisher, well, he's usually smiling, loving every minute of it, and why not?
The bus would make one stop along the way to provide an opportunity for the players and managerial staff to thank the fans personally for their support, the players to receive the adulation they so richly deserved.
Thank you. Paul. Thank you very much. Gary.
Well played, Carl. Well done, Craig. Colin. Well played, Captain.
He's coming as well.
We'll say we get hello, Rich. Hey, go on, Matt. Cheers, lads.
Well
How's it going? All right.
Here, you need to come and collect her, really. Right, this is your last chance now. Don't let me down, Kettering. Go for it. Didn't make enough noise, although I was doubtful that you actually did make enough noise. So, first of all, Kettering Town, give yourselves a round of applause for the fantastic. And keep your applause going, and welcome over the stage to our Councillor John Coleman, the Mayor. Very important person. John, welcome.
Play to Wembley. Not an easy thing to do. You play with all your might. You will hear you celebrate anyway.
First want to just say thank you so much for the magnificent support at Wembley yesterday. I thought it was quite unbelievable, and I just say thank you, all of you. It was absolutely wonderful.
Give yourselves another round of applause.
You know it is manager Peter Morris.
Thank you.
Easy.
Thank you.
They know you then, Pete.
Yes. We nearly did it. So close. Well, now we can be proud. We can be proud of all the lads. Remember yesterday it was as warm as this. And my lads played. They run the nuts off. They went out. We deserved to beat them. It went to be, but it was tremendous seeing all you people down there. That was unbelievable.
I'm sure you'd all like to show your pretty face while we present, or the mayor will present, Peter, one of the nice champagne pieces to celebrate with you a little later.
It was then time to gather the thoughts of some of the players who were overwhelmed by the numbers that had not only come out in force, but were remaining optimistic about the future for the club and their beloved team.
Well, Colin Vale, you've had 24 hours to think about it. What's the feeling this morning?
Well, obviously the pain's still there. That won't go away for a couple of weeks. But looking back, we did ourselves proud. Did as much as we could do, but unfortunately didn't go away at the end of the day.
And you've been on the bus tour of Kettering this morning. It's been a fantastic turnout, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I woke up this morning, I wondered if there'd be anybody turning out because we'd lost. The fans have been great, and as you can hear them in the background, they need a round of applause because they've been awesome.
And just talking back to yesterday, how did it feel to score a goal at Wembley?
Oh, it was tremendous. Good ball from Kyle Adams, and I just got my head on it, and thankfully it went in the top corner and got us back into the game.
Great effort, Colin. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Well, Phil Brown, it was pretty much a lifetime's ambition yesterday, wasn't it, to play at Wembley?
Yeah, as time passes by, you think you'll never get there. To actually get there and play there, tremendous experience.
And how did you see the game generally? Kettering unlucky?
Yeah, I thought we started well. I thought we were in charge for the first half an hour. Bit of a slip up, give them a goal, but the way we tried to come back in the second half were phenomenal.
And what about this morning?
Tremendous. I mean, you'd think losers, nobody had bothered turning up, but absolutely tremendous turnout. The fans have been superb.
Bill, well done. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Well, Robbie Cook, you've had a few trips to Wembley, not too many wins, I don't suppose. What was it like yesterday?
Oh, great atmosphere. I thought we started to play well in the second half as well. Supporters made it a smashing day for everybody. I don't think we expected the volume of support that we actually received, and obviously very thankful for that. The result obviously disappointing for us. All the lads were very distraught afterwards, but they picked themselves up during the hours afterwards, and I think looking back on it in a few years' time, they'll be happy with what they achieved.
And this today, absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean we're overwhelmed by it all. I think it's unreal, really. I mean the fact that we get this kind of support and backing when you've actually got beat, it speaks volumes to the amount of support that we've got, and we're very thankful for it.
And the job starts today, I suppose, of going back next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think like everybody's been saying, we've sampled it now, and it would be nice to get to a trophy final again. Where it will be next year, I don't know, but the occasion's worth getting there, definitely.
Well, Chairman Peter Mallinger, this has been a fantastic morning, hasn't it?
Well, quite unbelievable. I mean, I feel so proud. I'm always proud to be chairman of Kettering Town, but this has been something very special, particularly yesterday at Wembley, and then to come back to a welcome like this, it's quite unbelievable.
And 24 hours after the event, you can reflect on Wembley yesterday. Your thoughts today?
Well, I knew it was going to be a special day, but I really had no idea what sort of day. But it was the fans really that made it. The Kettering fans yesterday were absolutely unbelievable, and I mean the team played so well anyway. I thought we were extremely unlucky to lose the game, but they did us very proud.
Carl Adams, you've had 24 hours now to think about yesterday. Your thoughts on Wembley?
Very hard to sum it up really, because I think we won the game and lost the game in the second half. Just really disappointed, you know. Such a turnout like this, it's such a shame that we didn't bring the cup home.
And how good are the Kettering fans?
Oh, I don't think you need telling that, do you?
And what about next year? You hoping to come back? You want a taste for it and perhaps do it again?
Definitely. I think next year now, you know, we'll try that much harder. Every cup run, you know, now we've had a taste for it, just try as hard as we can.
Well, Craig Norman, you've had 24 hours, having been a goal scorer at Wembley. Your thoughts on the day?
Mixed emotions really. It's nice to obviously score at Wembley. Not a lot of players to say they have, so that's nice, but it would have been nice if it was a winner, obviously.
And it was another penalty. There wasn't ever any doubt, was there, that it was going to go in?
There was a doubt about the penalty, I understand. But no, once I got it, once I got up there, put a ball in the spot, I was very confident of tucking it away. Thankfully I did.
And you've experienced this today. It's been a fantastic reception, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. When we left the hotel, we didn't know what to expect really with, you know, getting beat. We thought a few people might turn out, but the turnout is absolutely phenomenal.
And you're a Kettering lad now, of course. A lot of these people, they're your friends as well as being fans.
Yeah. Since I've been here, really, I mean, the support. I didn't really know non-league football, but support here is incredible, especially away from home. They follow us all over the shop, and you know, credit to them. They're different class, really.
Chris Perkins, a few months ago, you were playing at Southend. I don't suppose there were thoughts then of playing at Wembley. How's it felt?
Brilliant, it's a dream come true playing at Wembley.
And how's it been at Kettering?
It's lovely, really enjoyed it. Good bunch of lads, good morale here, and I feel one of the lads as well. So it's been good. They've took me in, and it's been good.
And I don't suppose you had any idea of the sort of reception you get today. Today when you came back from the hotel.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's been brilliant, unbelievable. The fans said yesterday. I spoke to my family after the game. They said they didn't stop singing on all game. They said they were absolutely magnificent. They said all in a friendly mood and everything. They said it's brilliant. So and to see them out again today, it's brilliant.
Well, Carl Shutt, you've been at Wembley a few times. How did yesterday compare?
Nice. You know, it was a bit hotter than the last time I was there. But the Kettering fans made a lot of noise. They were equivalent to when I was there with Bradford, and they took a lot, that 37,000. But as I said, it was only 14,000. It made just as much noise.
And it was a fairly emotional occasion, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, because it's a bit of history. You know, the last time, you know, Wembley's going to be there, really, in its present form. So it's nice to be part of it. You know, at 38, you don't think you're going to get a chance to get there.
And I was going to say, as one of the older members to play at Wembley, it's a last chance, but do you still feel that you've got enough to offer, perhaps, to get another season or two?
Well, I think so, you know, but I mean, if people watch yesterday and that, then they're better judges than me, you know, if they're older lads, I mean...
And coming back to Kettering to this sort of reception, I suppose you got used to that when you were playing for Leeds and the like, but for a place like Kettering, not bad, was it?
No, you can't get used to things like that. I mean, each one's special, because obviously you associate that with, I mean, I'll be associating that with last time I was at Wembley, and so that's a place in my head and that.
Yeah, good effort, Carl, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, cheers.
So it was back to reality and the thought of going back to work the following day. What is left for the players and officials to do now was gather their thoughts and reflect on what might have been. The Poppies will be back as strong as ever next year. Well, let's hope so anyway.